And the title for today, which I thought was really interesting that came up. So, for everybody out there, I came up with a bunch of titles based on what people research online and put it into a list for us. So the one that came up today was how to get turned on when the relationship is bad. How to
Mm.
get turned on when the relationship is bad. And my first is like, wait a minute. Why is the relationship bad? Like, that's not the question we should be asking.
When I
Why is
read
the
this again,
relationship bad? Do we still want to get turned on when the relationship is bad? Like, how bad are we talking here? So that's the first kind of thing that came up for me. And now that I'm sitting with it a minute, I'm really wondering, okay, what do we mean by bad? Like, how are we defining bad?
yeah,
And can you use intimacy as a way to make it good? And
hmm
so, and then, well, so many different ways we can go. So I'm going to give you the floor to tell me what kind of comes up for you with hearing that. I
yeah,
think the other question is, I think, what's the definition of bad? Can intimacy even be used to make it good? And then what are we defining as intimacy or getting turned on?
hmm
And so okay, what is intimacy? What is getting turned on? Is there a gray middle ground in there for just connection? Like,
yeah,
can I connect with my partner without being absolutely turned on? And
yeah.
so, but that kind of goes back to like what's good and what's bad. So, okay, what comes up with you for you just with that title again? Like, how to
Yeah,
get turned on when my relationship is bad?
yeah, yeah, you named a lot. I read when you sent the title out, I read it and I was like, kind of had a pause there. And
Yeah.
some of the stuff you're bringing up, like as sex therapists, we fully recognize that sex is a lot of different,
Mm-hmm.
right? It can be
Yeah.
connection, it can be comfort, it can be physical release, it can be all sorts of stuff. It can just be the
Yeah.
physical, it can just be fun. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and as therapists, when a relationship is bad, yeah, my first thought is, well, why would you, how can we fix it? But I think when it comes down to it's what the bad is, you're right. Like,
Yeah.
what is the bad? Is it that you guys have grown apart emotionally, but like sex is so much
Mm-hmm.
good and that's your main connection? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to develop intimacy in other places? Or
Mm-hmm.
is it that you're on the brink of divorce and that it's that kind of bad? And
Mm-hmm.
sex is well, all sorts of things, even when you're right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this is, not safe for work, but I guess neither is a lot of what we talk about. The thought that came to my mind, honestly, when I first read it was hate sex, if you know what I mean. Like,
Ooh, yeah.
people that is
Yeah.
angry, can just be this emotion. It's a way to emote at each other without having to say the hard stuff sometimes. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, you're so right. Like, what is the bad? How are we fixing it? Where does sex lie in there? And
Yeah.
intimacy, like you said, how to get turned on. I shouldn't go directly to sexual intercourse. Like, there are all kinds of
Yeah.
ways to get on, but that's where
Yeah.
my mind went first.
Yeah. All right. If you had a client who was sitting in your office saying the relationship is bad, and I don't want to make it better,
Mhm.
but I'm not going to be able to stay and not have sex with my partner, what do you
Mm.
think you would tell them?
Oh, putting the student on the spot. Yeah, I think I would say to them, because, I'm EFT at heart, emotionally focused. I hear you that you don't want to do anything to fix the relationship. Um, so I guess I would want to know first, like, what does sex represent to you? Is it just
Yeah.
physical connection? Are you getting your emotional needs met somewhere else?
Yeah.
Um, like what is the motivator for you to say, like, if we're a couple, we're still gonna have sex, but I don't want to work on it. Like, where is that
Hmm.
coming for you? So
Yeah.
yeah, what does sex, what does intimacy mean for you as an individual? Is
Yeah.
kind of where you would go at first.
Yeah. I think what's coming up for me and what I'm thinking about is people who um, are married to an alcoholic.
Hmm.
That's the example. Like, there's so many ways this could go, but specifically asking or expecting or wanting a partner to just stop drinking.
Yeah.
Um,
The sex, yeah.
Traditionally, historically, has not gone well, and so a lot of people have just had to make the decision. Okay, my partner's they're not gonna stop drinking, and so It's and if the relationship is bad because of that, okay, it's not going to get better.
Mm.
But neither one of us are willing or want to live in a sexless marriage, and neither one of us want to get out of the marriage for whatever reason. Could be financial, could be practical, could be our families are so intertwined, or our kids are a delicate age. Like we're just here.
Yeah,
And so I think that's the example that's coming up for me.
I love
And
that.
so figuring out, because I think we do have to acknowledge that none of us have lives that we thought we would when we grew up.
Really neat.
Like this thing is just, and the thing about it, I don't even think an adult could really explain to a kid how life is just not black
I've
and white.
I've
Like,
tried. Yeah.
yeah, you're so, what do they call it? Bright eyed and bushy tailed when you're a kid, when you're young, especially with a teenage girl that's grown up watching Disney or something. Like the nuances, even in my 20s, like the things that can go wrong and be crazy in a marital relationship are just astounding. Like there's
Yeah.
no way anybody could have told me um all of the like the I almost want to say microaggressions, but it's bigger than that, because it's not just microaggressions, it's family of origin issues, it's nuances of love and relationship, and individual versus coupled, like how intertwined do we want to be, how like all of the things that make a marriage and make a marriage work and not work. It's just so complicated. And so I love, specifically in our practice, that we can meet our clients there and really say, okay, let's sit with what the real deal is. Like, what's really going to have to happen here for you to be okay? What are we really trying to do, and how do we really get there? And so I just love that realness about us. And I encourage us to have it. Like, I don't want us, I want us to be a practice that can deal with very hard, real topics, that when it's complicated and when it's, completely gray,
Yeah.
that, no, I'm not happy, but I'm not willing to have my kid move out of this school district. Like,
Yeah.
like things
Yeah.
like that.
I appreciate you naming that, Natalie, because you're right. Like that's our goal as therapists, and I think that
Yeah.
your practice that I'm so privileged to be a part of, like we really do strive to meet our clients where they're at.
Mhm.
And knowing how complicated relationships and marriages and just long-term intimate partnerships are, you're so right that
Yeah.
like sometimes the facts of life are like we're not breaking up. You
Right.
know, and I need to make
Right.
the best of what we've got. And,
Mhm.
something that gets lost sometimes in this, for me, like I'm so emotionally focused, like we have a biological sex drive. We have a biological
Yeah.
need to attach to other people. Like that's
Yeah.
just, it's like we have to attach, whether it's our parents, hopefully an intimate partner later, how we have to attach. We have
Hmm.
the biological needs for sex and intimacy. Um, and yeah, like we have to meet folks where we're at. So thank you for pointing that out and giving me that good reminder. Like that's what we're here for.
It
Not
is
that
what we're
I'm
here
bad, but
for.
it's
Yeah.
such a good reminder.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So to the person who wants to get turned on, so we've identified, nope, they're not going anywhere. And yes, sex is going to still be part of the relationship and want to get turned on. What do you think you tell them? What advice would you, if you could give them a one, two, three, what would the one,
Mm.
two, three steps be?
Oof. One, two, three. I think the first is figure out with your partner or maybe just with yourself. Let's talk about like self, like what your boundaries are, like what you're willing to, if you're not willing to give a lot emotionally, like expect that up front, know your boundaries. Or like do a lot of the emotional work, expect that of your partner, know your boundaries. I'm struggling here, Natalie, of like
Okay,
once know your boundaries,
I can take it.
like know your boundaries, have realistic expectations. Like,
Hmm.
and in that I mean define what you're expecting from sex. Is
Hmm.
it or intimate, getting turned on. What are you expecting? Is it that you have sex regularly? Is it that it's once in a blue moon because we both just need something?
Mm-hmm.
Know your boundaries, clarify your expectations. And if getting turned on with your partner is something that's important, like
Mm-hmm.
make sure you and your partner are on the same page. I would say that is number three. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, make sure you and your partner like still they want the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
They're not what is the AA analogy? I think it's an AA. Don't shop for bread at the hardware store is one of
Yes.
them. Like if you know that you're purely looking to this physical connection without like improving your marriage, like make sure your partner feels the same way.
Yeah.
Uh, like
Yeah.
don't and it's kind of all three that don't try to get milk from them or bread from them if they're the
Yeah.
hard. Um,
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Okay. I think what I would say is read a couple of books on sex and sexuality. I want you to know how to turn yourself. Like, I feel like that's like a skill, to being able to turn yourself on. It's a
yeah,
skill. So I'd say number one, read a couple of books and learn the art of turning yourself on. And so I think in general, it's fabulous when we can look at our partner and just get turned on. I think realistically, it's fabulous when it happens, and it doesn't happen all the time.
even in
And
the most
so,
bonded couples, it doesn't always happen.
right. And so learning that, learning how to get yourself there, which is a bigger conversation about
Okay.
learning how to manage and change your own moods,
Mhm.
so really learn. And so I think everybody can identify. I would love for everybody to do. A lot of people. Let me say that I don't like to talk in absolutes. A lot of people can identify a song that takes them to a sexier place, or a movie clip that did it, or a whole movie that did it. Like
Yeah.
there's something, a memory that does it. And
Yeah.
so just identify those things and maybe even write them down so that you can pull on those when you need to pull on those to get into that more erotic place for yourself. Right. Number two, I think being able to take responsibility over your eroticism, which
Yes.
is, I feel like almost kind of really the second part of number one, but I do want to separate it out because
Separate them.
even if the relationship is great, like we have so many couples that come in and it's just like, well, my partner should be giving me an orgasm. Okay, how do they know how to do that? You know, you are the person who teaches them the class on you and your body and what works for you. And
Mhm.
so really taking ownership and responsibility for that so that you can have a voice and get out of any sexual experience, whether the relationship is good or bad, what you need to get out of the sexual relationship, the experience. And number three is a lot of people don't talk about this, and I don't know why. Because when I ask the question, y'all are going to be like, huh, you're right. We don't. Yeah. But the simple question is, what is good sex?
Yeah.
Like, what is good sex to you?
100%.
And what is good sex to your partner?
Hmm.
And so there's so many times, like maybe multiple times a week, I'll talk to one partner and they're just like, an orgasm is what makes great sex for me. And the other partner's like, I just like being close to my partner.
Yeah.
Like the kissing works for me, or it's really great when they kiss my back or they kiss my leg, or like that's what makes it great for me. Or and I definitely have a number of people who are like, when we talk, that
Yeah.
is what makes a great sexual experience for me. And so just sit down and know that for yourself. Really think about, okay, what makes a great sexual experience for me?
Hmm.
And if it's a conversation, then make sure you're having the conversation. And so you may need to say that to your partner, because we all have a tendency to look at the world through our own lens. And so if I'm looking for an orgasm, you must be looking for an orgasm because that's what sex is about, an orgasm. And so when a partner says, yeah, I'm okay with it without an orgasm. Like it doesn't have to happen. But if you
Yeah.
really want to make me happy, talk to me 30 minutes. That
Yeah.
is more powerful than any orgasm I could have. And so really getting clear on that. And if I could add a number 4 in there, just because I feel like I'm out there, could you believe your partner when they tell you these things?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
this. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go a little. I'm gonna go heterosexual here. There's a good amount of men who just don't believe that for women. So
Mm,
I've noticed that there's a good amount of men just like, nope, you got to have an orgasm. If you have an orgasm, it'll be better for you. And the woman is like, nope, I promise you. It's
yeah.
like it's a nice to have, but I'm
Mhm.
not in it for that. It's a cool experience, but I'm so much happier if we have a great conversation. Like you want to feel connected to me, then talk to me and listen to me, and like we're there, and that is orgasmic for me. And so if I've gotten on the men with that of just practicing believing their partner, with women where they don't believe their partners at is usually something around like food or simplicity of
Mm,
life or something. And
good.
so where a guy is like, nope, I can eat. Look, I'm hungry. It's breakfast time. Like a guy would be like, nope, I can eat grits every day. And they're like, no, you need variety in your breakfast. And they're like, nope, I can eat grits every day. Like,
I, yeah, I'm thinking of an example to that non-food, but I was
uh-huh,
working with a couple months ago, and we were talking about like what turns one on versus the other. And
uh-huh,
the one partner was like, I like candles, a hot bath, like a conversation.
uh-huh,
And then the other was like, I was like, what turns you on? They're like,
uh-huh.
just get naked. And the other partner was like, oh, there's got to be more than that. And they were like, no, just get
So
naked. Really all I need. I'm a
it's
visual creature. They were
right.
like, no,
I would take that example because the food one is what comes up most for me, just because I'm set with the two guys that's just like I don't eat all of this. I don't want all of this.
yeah,
Like keep
I've
it
used
simple
food
for me.
analogy in session before.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. But that's a good one, and I can see that. Like I just take your clothes off and I'm happy. I'm ready to go. I'm there. And
Yeah,
women are like, no, you have to get in the mood. And he's like, I'm in the mood. Like if you take your shirt off, I'm in the mood. That's it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. So yeah, I think you're so right.
Yeah.
Number 4, like believe your partner, and I'm so
Mhm.
glad that you gave, I went like these emotional ways, but like I love like the what you're saying, because for some reason it seems to remain taboo for many people in our culture to know,
Right.
to know their sexuality, um,
Mm-hmm.
and to be empowered enough to tell their partner what it is. Like,
Mm-hmm.
read each other's minds.
Mm-hmm.
Taking a class on communication right now, as part for school, and like we have this rose-colored glasses, like you said, of like everybody must be able to read my mind, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
he must know I like my neck kissed. Well, if you've never told them that, then how would
No. How would they know? How would they
um,
know?
and also like to I don't know if it's like a function of growing up in the Bible Belt or just conservative culture, but it seems so taboo for a lot of folks to know their own sexuality.
Mm-hmm. It is taboo for a lot
I
of folks.
I
And
had a
in
client, yeah, recently who told me it would be pathetic for them to explore their own sexuality on their own. They were like, that's only for when I'm with a partner. And I said, let's talk about why you said pathetic. I was like,
yeah.
let's dig into that. But I think it's a symptom of a larger problem,
Yeah.
or issue. I won't say problem. I don't want to pathologize people, but a larger
Yeah.
symptom that we don't feel comfortable in our own
Mm-hmm.
sexuality, and then conveying that sexuality. Like,
Right.
I think it's so sexy for somebody to know what they like and be able to tell you. And I mean, who wants to be under the covers guessing?
Right. The pressure of that. Like, am I getting it right? Am I getting it right? The pressure of that. What you just said, it being so sexy, is because what we know is that confidence and
Mhm.
authenticity
Yeah.
are the sexiest things. That makes people so attractive
Yeah.
when they are just being themselves, just confident and authentic. And you can be that more confident, authentic person if you've explored your own sexuality, if you can say, nope, I like it here. Like, and how sexy is that when a person's like, do this for me and that's going to do it for me. And it is. So I just want to remind you guys that, like, so somebody out there within the sound of my voice, you're showing up very timid and not knowing. And I want to encourage you right now to know, to get basic information, to read a book. And if reading a book is just off limits for you, then come in and talk to us and have a conversation, and we can like help you navigate or actually give you some places to start. Lastly, I think I would like everybody to think of sex as a skill that we
Mm,
build, whether it's the skill of turning our own selves on, or it's the skill of knowing how to bring our own selves to an orgasm, or it's the skill of communicating with a partner. All of these are skills. And
yes.
like any other skill set,
Practice.
usually kind of your upbringing kind of determines where you start on the ladder, you know? And let's take a musical instrument. If I grew up with a mom who was a piano teacher, then I'm probably going to start higher on the scale of learning to play the piano than a person who doesn't. And
Yeah.
so that's just kind of life. And so there are some people who grew up in households where the skill of talking about intimate issues was more present. And so you're going to be higher on the ladder, and somebody else is going to be lower on the ladder. That's it.
Yeah.
And so wherever you are, please don't beat yourself up or feeling bad for being that place on the ladder. Just
Yeah.
know this is where I am and that you can build a skill.
Yeah.
Like, I promise you guys, y'all can buy like any book off of Amazon and they'll get it to you in like 2 days. Like, I tested this theory out. And there are books on practically everything.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so that is a good place to start building the skill. Like that's all you got to do. And so I mean, communication. How many books are on communication? Actually talking about sex. I'm sure somebody's written a book about how to talk about sex. I'm sure.
Oh, of course.
And if they if they haven't, like I will. I'm not gonna write it, but I'll ask somebody I know to write it. But it's out there. So I want to just encourage you guys to get it to get good information. One of my
Yeah.
supervisors told me good sex therapy is good sex education, and you can get education these days by reading a book, listening to a podcast. There's some really great podcasts out there that are educational, good, really good YouTube channels, and so I would love, if nothing else, for you guys just to know that you can get good information. And
Mhm.
so it's always so interesting to me when like a couple shows up in therapy and I'm like, so what books have you guys read? Oh, none. Okay. Okay. We're here, but you could start right now. Like you
Yeah.
could start right now getting more information and just shifting your brain a little on what you're seeing and how you're interacting with your partner and improving the relationship. There's so many books out there and so many things. So I think I want to end saying my final thoughts is don't wait another minute. You don't have to essentially suffer in silence or be in a bad relationship. Like there are things that we can do and you can start doing them immediately. So, okay.
Absolutely.
What are your final thoughts, Amanda?
Yeah, love what you said about like educating self. Like you're right. There's apps, there are games, there are books, like
Oh,
so much out there. Final thoughts for me is eh, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to communicate with yourself about what turns you.
mm, mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to communicate with your partner. Don't be afraid to honestly evaluate your relationship. Going back to what we started with, like
Yeah,
when things are bad, like how do you still get turned on?
yeah,
Evaluate your relationship. It is valid to say things aren't great, but I'm not
mm-hmm.
leaving.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah,
make a point. You gave some really great examples, Natalie. So don't be afraid to be honest about your sexuality, your relationship, your partner.
yeah,
And come see us. Like we're here, we're not here
yeah,
to judge. We're here to meet you where you're at.
yeah,
Um,
And help
So
you get to where you want to get to, where you need to get to. Yeah, that's what
that's
we're
makes
so.
us happy, right?
It
When
does.
it fills our cups too. Like when you get what you need, like we
Yeah,
feel good too. So
we
it's good.
do. So, all right, everybody, that's it for today. Happy Friday, and we'll see you next time. All right, bye bye.